Hello YouTube, Bane666 here. So in this video I'm going to be looking at a very interesting feminist take on Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. What could go wrong there, right? Now I am going to assume that everyone watching this has a good understanding of what's gone on between Amber Heard and Johnny Depp.
Oh, I'm sorry, because the last time that it got crazy between us, I really did think I was going to lose my life, and I thought you would do it on accident. And I told you that. I said, oh my god, I thought the first time.
Amber, I lost a fucking finger, man, come on. I had a can of mineral spirits thrown at my nose.
But just in case you've been living under a rock, or possibly stranded in Antarctica, or possibly gone full MGTOW monk and you've been living in a cabin in the woods with no internet access, I will link to a channel called Incredibly Average, which has a back catalogue fully detailing the Amber Heard Johnny Depp fiasco, and I recommend you go and watch that.
Do you believe you're an abuser? Do you believe you abused me physically?
Do I physically believe, do I believe I physically abused you?
Yes.
Do you know I'm 115, well not anymore, but I was 115 pounds. I'm a 115 pound woman and you're, it says I have the capacity to abuse.
That's not the question, that's not the question.
Have I ever been able to knock you off of your feet?
You started these things.
You're going to get up on the stand, Johnny, and say she started it? Really? I have never been able to overpower you. That's the difference between me and you.
Why did you try?
And that's the difference that the whole world and the jury and the judge see, is that there is a very big difference between me and you.
And by the way, from watching probably hundreds of horror movies, I can tell you that living in a cabin in the woods, probably not a good idea. There tends to be a high kill count in cabins in the woods for some reason. But probably still preferable to being married to someone like Amber Heard.
You cannot think that it's just my side. You're fucking killing me. Your fucking people are trying to kill me. You've turned me into a... My boy has to go to school. My boy goes to school and has kids go, so your fucking dad's a wife beater? You don't think about that, Amber.
Now, I do have to point out that although this has been a terrible time for Johnny Depp and extremely stressful, I do think overall it is a good thing because it does demonstrate to the normies out there that the feminist model of male abuser, female victim isn't always the case. That you can actually, in fact, have female abusers and male victims. Not only that, but sometimes female abusers lie and pretend to be female victims. Now the interesting thing about that is, over the last couple of years, MRAs like myself have been working hard to bring awareness to male victims of domestic abuse. But there's been a bit of a feminist response to that, and that is whenever a male rings the police on his female abuser, we are told by feminists that it's actually the other way around. The male calling the cops on the female is a form of abuse, and that he is the abuser and she, in fact, is the victim, because they can't get away from that narrative.
Who are the people that also get caught up in that? And there are also a lot of women who police misidentify them as the perpetrator.
Okay, look, let's go to our next question because...
And apparently that's what passes as gender equality in the minds of many feminists. Men are always guilty, women are always victims, and anything that doesn't fit into that model is somehow wrong. It's either a lie, the male victim is lying, the female perpetrator has to be really the victim. They'll go to great lengths to maintain their ideological worldview. And that's basically what we're going to see in this article that I'm going to look at. Now, this is from an Indian website called Masala. I think it's like an entertainment website talking about Hollywood and Bollywood and things like that. But this particular article feels like it's from Jezebel. And the author goes to some extreme lengths to try to defend Amber Heard and condemn Johnny Depp because she doesn't want to get away from that narrative of male abuser, female victim. So, without any further delay, let's jump right into it.
Amber Heard and Johnny Depp were in a relationship that has gone south, and has made major headlines. Aparna Hajarnas writes about the said controversy in her current column. These past few years, the film industries across the globe have been shaken by the social phenomenon of the Me Too movement. The Me Too movement, which started out in 2016 on MySpace.
On MySpace? And here I thought it was on Twitter, but apparently it's on MySpace. I didn't think MySpace was even still a thing. Have we gone back in time? Is it 2005? Anyway, let's continue.
Due to the efforts of a sexual abuse survivor, Trina Burke gained much momentum in Hollywood when Alyssa Milano spoke about Harvey Weinstein and his predatory behavior. Many powerful voices joined hers, and soon a lot of men and their toxic behaviors were exposed by this movement.
Allegedly. And I say that because most of them didn't have any proof, did they? They were just allegations, and we were just meant to take the women at their word. Now look, I have no doubt that some of them, probably many of them, were actually true. But not all of them. Isn't that right, Amber Heard?
One of the names that shocked most people was that of Johnny Depp. His wife of 18 months, Amber Heard, accused him of being violent with her during their fights. She alleged that he turned into a monster when he was on drugs and alcohol. However, Depp continued to deny these reports, and his fans continued to bat for his innocence. It didn't seem like the fans were the only ones supporting him. Famous author J.K. Rowling also stood by the decision to cast him in the second outing of the film Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald, based on the Harry Potter universe.
So, let me get this straight. A woman who's in a bit of divorce with her now ex-husband goes on social media and makes claims that the man who was divorcing her was a violent thug. And as a result of that, you think this man should lose his entire career, that he should never be hired to be in a movie again, right? That's what you're arguing here. That everyone should have just condemned Johnny Depp and that's it. No trial, no evidence, no right to defend himself, just guilty because a woman said so. Fuck his career, fuck his life, fuck him, right? Now remember folks, feminism is just about gender equality, right? Nothing else. It's not about female supremacy or the hatred of men or anything like that. No. And anyone who tells you that it is, they're obviously misinformed, right? Yeah, sure.
However, he was dropped from Pirates of the Caribbean in December 2018, 3 days after Amber Heard published her op-ed exposing his violent streak.
Exposing his violent streak? You mean allegedly his violent streak, right? Because I think it's pretty clear now that he wasn't the violent one, but that's a narrative that you're still pushing, isn't it? I mean, why let the facts get in the way? We're talking about feminist ideology here. We're talking about propaganda, and reality just doesn't matter. But yes, Johnny Depp did lose the Pirates of the Caribbean gig. I can't imagine if they make any more movies they'll be any good without him. But it's a strange type of patriarchy that we're living in, isn't it? Where a woman can go on social media and say a few words towards a man and basically torpedo his entire career. That's a lot of power. Strange that in a patriarchy which oppresses women, that women would have so much power over men, and men would have so little defense. What a very, very strange patriarchy we're living in. How bizarre.
What happened later is a case of he said, she said, only more on the lines of what he did and she did. Recent reports have revealed that Heard was abusive towards Depp, and he has now slapped a defamation suit against her. She has also admitted under oath that she was violent towards him.
But despite this, the author of this piece of shit is still going to condemn Johnny Depp and defend Amber Heard, because she's not interested in gender equality, she's not interested in justice. What she is interested in is hating all men, and you'll see exactly what I mean in a minute, and defending all women, even the guilty ones. because we all know that women never do anything wrong. And if they do, it's always the fault of a man, right?
Suddenly, it seems like people are in a hurry to punish Amber Heard for her false accusations against Depp and want him to be exonerated from all charges. But to me, it seems as if he was declared innocent even when the charges against him had surfaced.
Okay, so what she's saying here is, yeah, sure, Amber Heard's the guilty one, and sure, Johnny Depp's her victim, but, you know, everyone declared Johnny Depp innocent when Amber Heard came out and accused him, and therefore, Amber Heard's the real victim. What? I mean, first of all, not everyone declared Johnny Depp innocent. You just said a minute or so ago that he lost the gig for Pirates of the Caribbean. That would have cost him a lot of money, and I'm sure that's not the only acting job he lost. You can't say it didn't hurt his reputation. You can't say there weren't people condemning him. There are still people condemning him, like this fucking article. But that's going to be her argument now, that Johnny Depp got a free pass right from the start, and this somehow proves that all women are victims and we're living in a patriarchy or something. It's bizarre. The arguments get a lot more bizarre. Just wait and see.
In today's social media climate, especially after the #MeToo movement, people want to exonerate men accused of sexual crimes.
Yeah, the key word here is accused. Not found guilty of, but accused. And for some reason, you don't really seem to understand the difference. You seem to think that an accusation from a woman is the same as someone being found guilty.
There is a dog whistle used by most men's rights activists and anti-feminists that women accuse men falsely of crimes.
That women accuse men falsely of crimes. You mean like Amber Heard did to Johnny Depp? Because I think we've got an example of that actually happening. So what you're saying is those MRAs and anti-feminists are 100% correct, right? There are some women who accuse some men falsely of some crimes, correct? It doesn't matter how inconvenient it is to your ideology, it's a simple fact. What I'm curious about, though, is how is that a dog whistle exactly? What exactly are these MRAs and anti-feminist dog whistling about? What is it a coded message for, I wonder? Now, I'm guessing she would say something like misogyny, or it's an excuse to hate women, or something like that, right? Which is ironic, considering the hatred towards men which is coming up from this particular author. And by the way, the reason why MRAs like myself bring up women falsely accusing men is because due process is an important cornerstone to our legal system. I know feminists like you would like to do away with it and have a system where all women are believed and all men are found guilty automatically, but, you know, that's not what we call justice.
Hello, every law in this world has been broken by men.
Every law in this world has been broken by men. What an amazing argument. That's clearly checkmate. It's game over. I mean, how could anyone debunk that? Clearly, every law in this world has been broken by men. Therefore, all men are guilty, right? Including the men being beaten by their female partners. Clearly, those evil men pounding their faces into the woman's fist. How dare they? Clearly, they're the guilty ones. I guess we're just fortunate that every law in the world has never been broken by women, because women never commit any crimes or do anything wrong, right? It's only men who do it. And it's all men. Every man. Every man is guilty, simply by the fact that they have a penis. They're born guilty, apparently. Don't you love feminist equality? Isn't it great?
There are loopholes in every law, including evading taxes, which most men seem to take advantage of.
Oh, I see. All the evil men are taking advantage of all those tax loopholes, but no women are. Women are too pure and too honest, and they would never cheat on their taxes or get any tax breaks. That would simply never happen. Okay, well, if that's the case then surely women are paying much more tax than men, correct? No, that's not correct. Here's some stats from Australia, and I'm guessing these stats are pretty consistent around the world. If there are any countries where women pay more tax than men, I think they're in the minority. That is, if they even exist. But going by these stats, from 2015-16, the average net tax paid by men was $22,281, and for women it was $13,672. And for 2016-17, for men it was $22,237, and the average for women was $13,829. So there's roughly about $8,000 difference between men and women. So if all the evil men are taking advantage of all those tax breaks, it's not working, because they're still paying vastly more tax. And who benefits from all this tax? Well, that would be women, wouldn't it? Because the majority of people benefiting from welfare are actually women. When it comes to things like single mothers, or domestic violence shelters just for women, which are government funded with no comparison for men, or housing for homeless women, or even things like medical spending, the majority of which is spent on women, including medical research. So, men pay more tax, women take advantage of men paying more tax. So I don't know how it's an argument that all men cheat on their taxes and women never would dream of it. Because even if that was the case, it's still pretty uneven, isn't it?
In almost every conversation that I have had with men in the past couple of years, every man reminds me of how women misuse laws and slap fake cases against men.
Almost every interaction she's had with men for years, the men have brought up false allegations. Really? Now, I know it's a bit of a hot topic in India, but seriously, are we meant to believe that almost every interaction she's had with men, the men have brought up false allegations? So, on a Sunday she goes down to a local shop to buy a loaf of bread, a carton of milk, and the newspaper or something, right? And she says hello to the man behind the counter, and he screams at her, "What about the women making false allegations?" And she's traumatized by this, obviously, so she goes home, and it's Father's Day, so she rings her father and says, "Hi Dad, hope you're having a good Father's Day." And he screams at her, "What about the women making the false allegations?" I mean, are we meant to believe this is her reality? Somehow I don't think so. I don't think so at all. Now, there is a possibility, apart from the possibility that she's just exaggerated or straight out lied, there is another possibility, and that is that she's the one constantly bringing up female victims. Every time she has an interaction with a man, she starts talking about Me Too or something like that. And as a response, the men say, "Hold on a second, you know that not all those allegations are real, right?" That's a scenario I could maybe see happening. But almost every interaction she's had with men for years, the men bring up false allegations? I don't think so. I seriously don't think so.
They, however, have no answer when I remind them that they turn at the doorstep of their chartered accountant every month so as to avoid paying income taxes.
So let me get this straight. No men pay tax, and And because of that fact, and it most definitely is a fact, because we're living in a patriarchy, and all men have to do is flash their patriarchy card, and they don't have to pay any tax. The patriarchy takes care of it. They just charge women double or something. But because of that fact, apparently no women lie. I'm not sure what the connection is between those two things, but she's so good at using logic, I'm sure she's correct. I mean, who could dispute something like that, really?
These are the same men who will argue that women ask for alimony, but wouldn't mind splurging thousands of bucks on bachelor parties and buying expensive golf equipment.
Okay, so a man and a woman get divorced. They go their separate ways, they're no longer together, they have no connection to each other, and the man continues going to work every day, working hard, probably long hours, and then at the end of the week when he gets his paycheck, you're saying that he owes a certain amount of money to his ex-wife, who he is now no longer with and has no connection to. She is automatically owed some of his hard work and his labour, the fruits of that labour, as opposed to him being able to spend it on himself any way he wants. Yeah, that doesn't sound privileged at all, does it? No, definitely nothing remotely like being privileged.
I also like to remind these men that gender wage disparity exists, and so does the Big Boys Club, which ensures that men get the topmost jobs in every big company and government offices.
I shouldn't be surprised that she pulled the wage gap fallacy. The only thing that shocks me is she didn't pull it before now. But ladies, if you want to earn the same amount of money as a man, if you want to destroy the gender wage gap, there's an easy way to do it. All you got to do is man up. All you have to do is work the same number of hours as men do. All you have to do is sacrifice time with your kids and family like men do. All you have to do is work the more dangerous, more smelly, dirty jobs, which are often out in the elements, as opposed to a nice air-conditioned office. Although, as we know, those air-conditioned offices can be quite deadly as well. Right, feminists? So, yeah, all you have to do is man up and work like a man, work those more dangerous jobs, work longer hours, sacrifice time with your family and kids, and, you'll be earning like a man in no time. I know you can do it, ladies, if you can be bothered.
Coming back to the topic of Depp and Heard.
Oh, coming back to Depp and Heard. Yeah, after you've poisoned the well by telling us over and over again how bad men are, how apparently we all cheat on our tax, which somehow proves that women never lie about domestic abuse. Yeah, now that you've established that, let's actually get to the topic that the article is meant to be about. Good idea.
Let me just add here that it was almost as if people were waiting for Heard to slip and for them to hail Depp all over again.
Oh, is that what happened? Yeah, okay. That's a very interesting interpretation.
Here we have a case of a man who is a household name across the globe and a woman whose name people still need to Google.
Not anymore.
Heard will never be as powerful and popular as Depp is. Heard will never have so much support as Depp did, even when he was accused of domestic violence. Many people did not even know that the actress in Aquaman was Amber Heard.
How is who she was in Aquaman in any way relevant to the fact that she is a domestic abuser and a fucking liar? Well, I think she's about to tell us.
Well, that is what life is of a white, heterosexual, male superstar in Hollywood.
Oh, I see. So, because Johnny Depp is white, straight, and most importantly, male, the fact that he's a domestic abuse victim doesn't matter anymore, right? Yeah. Remember, folks, feminism is gender equality. That's all it is, right? Definitely not hatred of men. So apparently we should judge whether someone is a victim or not based on their race, their sexuality, and most importantly, based on their gender. If they're male, yeah, they're probably guilty of something anyway. They've probably cheated on their taxes, so who cares if their wife's been beating them and lying about them and destroying their reputation? Because, you know, every law in the world has been broken by men, and apparently not women, so it only counts when men do it. Clearly, Amber Heard is the victim here. Sure, you know, she's white and straight as well, but, you know, she's not a male, so that's the most important thing.
These men continued to get away with the vilest of crimes, including rapes and murder.
Okay, to my knowledge, Johnny Depp has never committed a rape or a murder. So, I don't know how it's relevant that there are some white, straight men who have committed rape and murder. How is that relevant to Johnny Depp being the victim of domestic abuse and being lied about by his ex-wife during a divorce? How the fuck is that relevant in any conceivable way? Unless you're suggesting it's guilt by association, right? Because Johnny Depp is white, straight and male, and because some white, straight men are bad, that somehow must mean that Johnny is bad? I mean, why else would you bring it up? I mean, if we were to use this type of logic, which is very similar to what the KKK use, by the way, I mean, where is the Southern Poverty Law Centre claiming this site is a hate site? But if we were to use the same type of logic, we could say that all blacks are members of a gang, because some blacks are members of a gang. We could say all women are prostitutes, because some women are prostitutes. And according to this logic, we have to apply guilt by association, right? We could say all Muslims are terrorists, because some Muslims are terrorists. You see how this goes? I mean, it's not very logical, it's not very fair, it's not very just, is it? But apparently that's the standard that this particular feminist wants. Of course, only applying it to males, particularly those who are white and straight. I mean, it doesn't sound bigoted at all, does it?
But, one wrong accusation and all hell break loose for their fans. Depp's fans have taken over social media and have started trolling anyone and everyone who still continues to doubt and question Depp's actions.
Oh, they're trolling. Oh, see, I thought they were correcting people who don't care about facts, but are judging people based on their ideology alone, based on their bigotry. You know, kind of like the writer of this article. But apparently that's trolling.
Let me sign off by saying what I continue saying on social media. No woman survivor of domestic violence will ever get the same support as Depp does. No man will get the same hate for being an abuser like the hate Heard gets.
You know, I've been doing this a long time now, and I'm still amazed that people like this can come up with arguments like this. I mean, are we seriously meant to believe that Amber Heard is getting more criticism and abuse than actual male abusers, or even just males accused of being abusers? What fucking world does this woman live in? It's not the reality that I'm in, that's for sure. Talk about being fucking delusional. But the thing about feminists like this one is, they don't really care about domestic abuse. If they did care about domestic abuse, they would care about all victims, including male victims. But the fact that they don't care about all victims tells us that they don't care about domestic abuse, and they're only using it as a means, as a cudgel, to attack men. It's something convenient to use as propaganda. It's a political tool, and it's a means of sowing hate. Anyone actually concerned about domestic violence and stopping it would actually have concerns about Johnny Depp, would actually have sympathy and understanding for him, and would actually want justice. But unfortunately, feminists like this one don't give two shits about those things.
I never fucking said that. I never told anyone that. You fucking trusted me with that, and I've never fucking told anyone that. And you know what, Amber? This is me. This is me saying, I tried. And thank you, and I will see you in fucking court. You don't want to fucking make nice? I'm trying. But you know what? I loved you for so many fucking years, but you know what? You didn't exist. You don't exist. You're not there. You were a fucking made-up thing in my head. And I can't believe you're doing this to me.
Stop.
Can't believe it.
There's no need to be cruel on top of it.
You've been nothing but cruel, and I'm going to court with you.
I'm sitting here defending myself, and it makes you so angry.
You have not let up. You keep blaming. No, what you just said. What you just said to me. You're defending yourself against me about something I didn't fucking do, and I'm not going to fight with you because I know this shit lasts forever.
I could expect it next. I am defending myself.
Excuse me, I'll be right.
I'm defending myself.
Excuse me.
I'm defending myself to you on the phone right now, and you're attacking me.
Excuse me, I'll be right back.
Things to me on top of it.
Can you give me 1 minute, please? May I have 1 minute, please? I'll be right back.
Ein Haufen Zombies um uns herum und die Nächte werden länger. Für kurz 2 Tage noch Munition, danach dann nur noch unsere Hände. Woher sie kommen, wohin sie gehen, darüber denken wir nicht nach. Ein neuer Anfang, ein altes Problem, wer schickt hier wen?